Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday with the Chakontas. I am Mr. Chakonta,
And I'm Mrs. Chakonta.
and we are back again with our new episode.
Yes.
And are we doing FWTC Reacts?
Yes, we've got a story to read out for you. But first of all, I think you wanted to share something with us.
Now, just saying, like, is there something before we go into this, like, that you've seen in the news that you wanted to just add to this podcast?
Nothing I can think of, but do you have something?
There was a story I saw. Remember that baby who was put in the plastic? What did you feel about that?
Babe, that's too deep. That's too deep.
No, just what is this? I think it's like in South Africa, the baby was put in the plastic.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
And then the baby was thrown away or something like that.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's really sad.
That's sad on so many levels.
The good thing at least the baby was rescued.
Yes, I hope that the baby remained well and was taken to the right place because it was just a clip, wasn't it?
It was just a clip, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I think that was one of the things that I said, okay, maybe, yeah, we're not gonna say anything about it. We're just saying this is just something that was on my mind during that time, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add before we start?
No, actually.
Okay.
No, I don't think I thought of something. So
what's our conversation for today?
Well, so I'm going to read it out to you, family. Hello, This person has written the following. Hello, family. Help me out. Sorry, my spoon is making noise. Let me just remove it from my tea. Hello, family. Kindly help me out. I am at the verge of getting married to a guy I do not really love. It sounds so crazy, but the truth is I have someone in mind who I would really love to be with. My childhood friend and I grew up together as neighbors, and our families were like one family. Mom could sometimes talk about this guy's family, how nice they were, and all that stuff. We were good friends, but I never saw myself living a lifetime with him after growing of age. We kept our friendship going even after we finished school and went to college together. His family even approached my family about marriage and they verbally agreed. When I heard of it, I just laughed. For me, it was one of those things, After relocating, I met another guy who my heart was pleased with and started seeing him. A few months later, he talked about wanting to send family to meet my family, and when I broke the news to my family, they refused, saying I already have someone who they have accepted. I tried to convince them that I did not love him and that we are just friends, but they adamantly refused, saying I will learn to love him. It's been a back and forth issue. To make it worse, they have even asked the guy's family to take an advanced step so that the guy can engage me. They claim it will bring shame to the family because everyone knows that I'm engaged with him already. Truth is, most people, even at church, think we're engaged, which is not the case. I like this childhood friend, but I don't see him more than a friend, and I do not want to embarrass my family, especially mom, because she really loves this guy and his family. The time I broke the news, she got sick because of her BP as it shot so high. It really breaks me and it is depressing. I know families have the best interest at heart, but it's me getting married and I should be the person. It should be to the person I love. I told one of my uncles about it and he promised to talk to my mom, but nothing came of it. It's like I have to sacrifice my happiness for my family. Is there anything I am not seeing which my family is able to see? It's really depressing me and time is moving fast as well. I really do not know what to do. Mr. Chakonta, what would you say?
I think for people who don't know, like maybe they feel like this is foreign. It actually happens like in other places, like
in Zambia, in our country, yes.
Like it's not like probably the Western way where like I just ask you, and maybe I talk to your father and then I ask you or something like that.
Yeah.
Like marriage back home is it's like a family thing.
Yeah.
We have to like do these formalities and everything like that.
Of asking for, the family for their, it's like still asking for. It's a bit like asking the father for the hand in marriage, but it's like a traditional way you go as a family to to ask for that.
Yeah, and then After that, there's negotiations and everything. Like
yeah,
that.
and then there's things like
The bride price.
and things like that. So I think this is where it's coming from. So that aspect is not foreign to us.
Yeah.
It's normal.
It's normal, yeah. But on the foreign side, did she accept when she said she laughed?
Well, it doesn't make sense because, I mean, when we got married, we had that happen.
Yeah.
But they got me out, and this is what they do. So they will bring you out and say, this gentleman or this family are saying that, you know, this gentleman has recognized you and he wants to wed you, he wants to marry you.
Yeah.
Do you accept? Is this the right person? One, and do you accept? They don't accept on your behalf. They don't accept with you not being there. And these are serious issues.
Yeah.
So something's telling me something's not quite right here.
It's not adding up.
It's not adding up. She wouldn't, because these are proper meetings where you dress appropriately. You are, you know, it carries such importance. You know, when the family come, you know, you make an arrangement. It's not just a casual, or you choose the day that you go, you knock on the door and you ask. No, it's usually, you know, there's a representative, somebody goes there, and there's usually 2 visits. You know, the first visit, they say, you know, something that, you know, it's like opening up the conversation. And it's done officially with the right people around. So I don't understand why she said she laughed. It's almost like it's like someone asks for your. It's almost like, take it back to the Western world. It's like someone, you know, proposed, knelt down and said, "Will you marry me?" with a ring.
Yeah.
And then your response is, "I laughed," and then everybody thinks you're engaged. That's the dynamic, and that's how strange it sounds.
Yeah, but don't you also think maybe because they're family friends, not only with her but with the family also? That also made it less formal.
Possibly, but it doesn't make, unless they just said it in passing, which again which is probably, you know, could have happened, and said, oh, they came for your hand and you laughed. But maybe it's just not adding up. If it was done it must be very, very informal. Like they just came for a random visit.
Yeah.
And then in that time they asked, but then that's not really a proper way of doing it traditionally.
Okay.
And then obviously one of the reasons is probably this, because it causes such confusion. Okay. But I think that personally, I don't know her, and I know we like to see, you know, there's 2 sides of a coin, but I feel like there's something she's not telling the truth here.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with you on the side of where you're saying that there's maybe something missing here.
Yeah, definitely.
In particular, when you're saying that, okay, why did she just laugh, or did she entertain it, or did she give an impression that she was interested for them to go ahead? But again, like you were saying, like the process that happened, like with us, she has to identify and accept. So maybe even the laughing and all that stuff. So I feel like, if maybe, you know, like, because I've heard some stories before where like some people will like already do it for you.
Okay.
And then they'll like, I think one of an uncle told me or something like that, like his mother brought some Ishima for him. And then it's like, oh, now because you've eaten, this was from that girl. So you have to eat. But he refuses, like, no. That's your own issue. Why am I coming into these things? Or something like that. So like they trick them like that.
Okay, maybe.
So now I see it now feels a bit like that. Where she's like, she feels like she's been tricked into this.
But I wonder if she would feel this way if she hadn't met the new guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Was she really... There must be some element that she was entertaining this.
Yeah.
And she liked it. But then now she's like, oh, love can feel this way.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah. And I think, I agree with you. I think maybe she did entertain it. Because I think, you know what? That's another thing. Like, as we're reading through the thing, it's like the way it sounds like she lived in a small city and then moved to the big city. And then like you understand what big city life is. Yeah. And you're just like, I can't go back to that. And that's the way I may be wrong.
We may be wrong. And maybe she wasn't intentionally entertaining it. Maybe it was very different. But I think this is why it's very important for whatever relationships you have, especially with the opposite sex, that they need to be defined.
Yeah.
They need to be very clear.
Yeah.
If there's families to the point where families are asking each other that's serious, then you, because I don't know the type of relationship. So obviously she's, let's say she's written this asking for advice. So going forward, I don't know the type of relationship she has with this guy from back home. Let's just say the guy from back home.
Yeah.
Do they still talk?
Yeah.
Is it regular? Are they intimate? Have they made plans together? Because if it's just a friend and he also knows that you are just a friend, or he's hoping that because there's a bit of a difference when it's in the relationship, when you know that you want to get married to each other. So where are the boundaries at now? And and then going forwards, you've met somebody different. Does this guy from the past know about this new guy, or have you been dating two people at the same time, or one of them thinks you're dating them but the other one doesn't realize that you're not dating him? So it's very, very blurred. I think it's not very clear where it's very clear where your heart is, but it's not very clear where you are at, day to day, your contacts. Do you talk to both of them? Like, do you meet up with both of them? And I guess the real deal here is you don't want you feel like you're being forced to be with somebody you don't want to be with. And I mean, my husband and I were just talking about how this is, we've been married for 7 years and, celebrating that. And one of the things that I appreciate is that this is the man that I chose. This is the man that I wanted to marry.
Yeah.
This is a man that, given the opportunity, I would choose again. So, and that 7 years has not been easy. We've had tough times. But that's one of the things that I hope helps to ground us. That's one of the things that helps me personally, because I'm just like, wow, like I would still choose you. And okay, we're going through a difficult patch right now, and by God's grace, we come through it. So for anybody that's one of my top advice to anybody is make sure that you choose right. Like this is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your life. So if you are not sure, then this is not it doesn't matter what your family think right now in that sense. Like it does matter, don't get me wrong. And I agree with, the girl's entry on, families want our best our best interests at heart the majority of the time. So, and they give really good advice, and sometimes they see things you don't see. But right now, it's very clear that you're not into this other guy. So it's time to draw the line. And even if it's a matter of you not marrying the next guy and just taking time out to think about what you want for your future, but going into a marriage because your family and everything else has been done, even the day before you say I do, you can always call off the wedding. It's not easy, but trust me, it's much better than getting into a marriage with somebody that you didn't want to.
I agree with you on that, but I think maybe you are looking at it from an aspect of, let's say, for example, where we come from. This is, and okay, it's a narrative that's coming from where we come from.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's okay. But the other side is, I feel like maybe there's also another component maybe we have to also look at, and the saying is, she's saying, I love this guy.
The new guy
and everything like that. Because I also see some of them in some other places, like, like Asian marriages where like it's not, they can be arranged sometimes.
Yes.
And all that stuff. And those can even last. But it's also based on how the culture, how this is bred into the culture and how it functions into the culture.
That's true. In
this situation, I'm just surprised.
More from our culture, which,
Yeah, I'm just surprised where she's like, I think there's a confusion here. Because she even was bold enough to actually go and say a few months later and said, oh, there's a guy who wants to come. Then I think her parents are like, but
what do you mean we've already accepted?
Some other guy has come. So I think maybe for her, she just took it as a joke.
This is what I'm saying. It's so confusing.
Yeah, because through the message you're saying here, I just laughed, and then she's like, and then she relocated, and then she says, I met a guy and my heart was pleased and started to see him. A few months later, he talked about wanting to send family to meet my family, and I broke the news to my family. They refused, saying I already have someone who they've accepted.
Yeah, because the thing is, if they've accepted that, then they need to unaccept before you now accept something else. They now need to go through the traditional pathway of saying, call those people and say, we're really sorry. Our child has changed their mind and we have to take back whatever it is. And if any money was paid, they have to give it back.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing.
No, it is. And I think the other side, I think maybe we're not looking at is maybe the closeness of the family to the point of where like, it's not just basically saying my daughter doesn't want to get married to you. It's now saying if we do this, the relationship we have will break.
Yeah.
We've built this relationship. You guys grew up. You guys did A, B, C, D together. You went to school together. You used to play there. This woman is my best friend or something like that. So how am I going to now tell her you do not want?
It's not easy.
I think, so I understand on the parent side where they're saying we are stressed.
Yeah.
But I also don't, I may be on the girl side. I don't know. She may have falsely given me the impression to go ahead, which I don't know because
she's bold enough to go and tell them that she's found someone else.
Yeah, but
so she could have been bold enough to say no, or maybe she didn't know that there was another option.
But she just laughed.
I know, it doesn't make sense. This is serious business.
I know, and on that side, so like I think there's here, if I look at it, there's a kind of a fault on her part, where she wasn't really, what's the word? She did not really speak her mind clearly and let them know, because she knows her parents. She knows where she comes from. And probably it's not just like they just agreed. I think this is a conversation that they've been having also over time. They're like, oh, these people have brought these things and everything like that. Oh yeah, we're now starting to plan. And they're also talking to her, but it looks as if she was just clueless. Like she has no communication. Like they've been plotting at the without letting her know. But if that's the case, then we can argue on that. But if the case is she's also been part of the and entertaining it, it now becomes a hard thing, because it's like, look, you're seeing your parents go through all these situations, and then at the last minute you're coming and saying, I don't want to do this because I found this other guy. But again, on her side, I also understand the fact where she comes from and saying that it's her choice.
Yeah, it is.
It's not that when she gets married to this guy, she's going to be living with her parents with this guy. She's the one who's making that decision.
Exactly.
And she needs to make a decision that's fit for her. And that's best for her. And I think this is another thing maybe we overlook, that the involvement of family sometimes is a big influence, but on top of that, at the end of the day, you are the one who gets to spend the rest of the life with this person. You get to do the day-to-day with that person. And I don't think it's only the issue about love, because to be honest, she's saying a few months and she's already in love. I don't understand that
I did mention that. Well, not mention, I noted, well, she can be in love, babe. How long will it take you to be in love?
Okay, I understand on those things, but I'm just saying that.
Are you sure this is the way forward, basically?
Yes.
I think a few months means that you might not have had as much time as other people. And so a few months just means that you need to be sure, and you need to make sure you've checked everything. And it's not just infatuation, and indeed it is love. Yeah.
And but yeah, so we'll give her a benefit of the doubt. Let's say if it's love, because we can't measure when somebody loves somebody. No. But we also do not know the other side of what has led this love. Is it a genuine love that this person is the things that she's
been looking for?
But on the other side, I can also see it on the side of, well, I said, if we look at it from a believer side, where like this person matches the aspects of your list of what you feel a believing husband is.
Yeah.
I think it's good for you to basically say, I am now willing to now be with this guy. But I also need to understand, before she can make that decision, she should just not now rush and say, I want to just make this decision, and not consider that there are already commitments out there.
I think
And they
sort
also
those out first.
Sort those out first before you now start to engage with that other thing.
There's no massive rush. Like, this is something that, and perhaps I think acknowledging your part in saying, maybe I was ignorant, maybe I didn't take it seriously when I should have.
Yeah.
And so being apologetic to the people, asking, the family to approach your friend, as in, because you said your, childhood friend's family, in an apologetic manner. If there's money that's owed, making sure that money is found and making sure that money is given back. Speaking to the childhood friend is probably key, because we haven't heard his voice in this. Understanding where your relationship is at. If he thinks you're the girlfriend, then you need to really have a discussion about what's going on. I think you need to finish that first and then move on a clean slate, so then you are not rushing into a new relationship when you haven't sorted out the other relationship. And you have to understand that other people are going to be hurt. But it doesn't mean that because they're hurt, you now need to make a decision to marry someone that you don't want to. No, but it's saying, okay, I may have contributed to someone feeling hurt, and so I am going to apologize for that and hope that they can forgive me, and hope that God can forgive me, and then move forward. I think there needs to be that acknowledgement and a discussion with your childhood friend, and then moving forward. Because if he's fine with it, and if, you never know, you could go together and communicate to your family and say, no, this is a decision we've both made. We no longer want to get married. And that takes the pressure off of you alone. But if he's tight and he's hurt, then you also just have to accept that, okay, he's hurt, because heartbreaks do hurt. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't move on. But it also doesn't mean that you should move on really quickly, because I don't know if it just doesn't make sense when I say the lines are blurred, when the relationship ended, if there was one, and when the new one started. You don't want to start marriage, with having had arguments and things like that. Like, the rush it's not that, like, you don't need to rush.
Yeah.
There is time for you to sort out these things and then move forward. But don't, and I see that, you mentioned, I think there was a mention about the mum, her feeling really worried about the mum. I think just having a conversation with her in a loving way, in a respectful way, and just praying to God that, she can forgive you and work with you on it.
Yeah, and also, like, the mother having high blood pressure, it can be very challenging, especially for a child, because maybe you've known your parents' ailments throughout time.
Yeah.
And like, this indeed is stressing your mom, because like, sometimes it's also the women who get so invested to the point of where, like, her mom feels so invested in all this.
Yeah, like she's the one getting married.
Yeah.
She's already made plans.
And now she feels, the embarrassment, the this and that, and then it just now is affecting her health. But it's good that she also sought for advice from her uncle, which is good.
Yeah.
But she said nothing has come back from that.
It hasn't come out of it. So maybe it's just speaking to the parents and seeing
seeing the direction that they need to go, because the last thing you want to do is, because I think there are these things of where we also see, like, stories online where, like, some people, like, they'll get married.
Yep.
And then they'll start having affairs with other people who they're in love with.
I was just thinking, I was thinking the opposite, but yeah.
That's wrong. Especially, let's say, if we're looking at it from a biblical perspective, the decision you've made, this is not only a covenant where you're just it's a big covenant.
Yes.
So when you're making these covenants, this is a covenant between you and God. So if you really don't love that person, the best way is just to say, you know what? I know there'll be risky things, and just be honest and say, I can't spare somebody's heart.
Definitely. And let another woman have the opportunity for love on that other side. But one of the things I was thinking was just making sure that you have thought about it, you've prayed about it, and that this guy that you want to move forward with is the one that you want to. Because this other stories we hear is you now move forward with someone and then you start having regrets about how your childhood friend used to treat you. And then affairs can happen that way.
The other side.
The other, going back to him or just regretting the decision you made. So listen to what your parents are saying. It might not just be about the embarrassment. It might be that they've seen this guy and he's got good characteristics.
Yeah, but
and then the new guy actually may not be good fit for you, and it might be that it's just a no for both of them, because it's not great for you to marry someone you don't love like that. But at the same time, just making sure that the one that you're saying you want to settle with is a good fit.
Yeah. So I think on this situation, I think the most practical issue I'll probably say is she needs to pause both relationships and just get some time to think.
Yes.
And if she can get some counseling,
I was thinking that too.
Something like that.
Someone at church that you can talk to.
Someone at church, or sometimes I don't know if maybe even not professional or something like that.
Professional counseling. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a massive decision.
It's a massive decision, and also understanding like maybe just getting some people, especially if you're in the context of the church, if your parents are part of the church, also help like some people to come in just to mediate.
Yeah.
And bring your concerns towards them.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're going to get married in the church, they have to know some of these things. Because they don't want also these issues of embarrassment where they're getting married and then somebody comes and objects or something like that. Or things like that. So they just need to be able to give you wise counsel. And I think you just need to pause. If you're going to go forward with that other guy, it shouldn't be now. Right now, you shouldn't be thinking about marriage. Then the new guy. Right now, it's just saying, look, give her time to close that chapter properly so that you can now move forward.
Yeah.
So that there are no things there are no open doors from her past.
Or baggage.
Your baggage. And I think also that's time. And I think you need to be patient in this season.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when like on the other, from us guys, we're so eager to the point of where our eagerness can become an issue of where we end up getting into problems because a lot of things have not been closed from the past. So it's also good to just wait.
Yeah.
And also ask for God. Also, I think the other guy should also ask for God's wisdom. Because if this situation has come even before the marriage situation, this can be a red flag or just a confusion. So you also have to ask: Is this the person that you really want to, who you want to really be with? That stuff. And but there's some people who like you hear some stories of where some godly men stealing people's fiancés when they even like, what's this? Because I think there was a story I heard about like John MacArthur, who is like his current wife. She was actually sending invitations for weddings, and then but she had something where she was like, I'm not ready. And all that stuff. So to
someone else,
to somebody else. So the guy was like, maybe you're not ready because you don't want to marry me. You don't want to marry him. Maybe I'm the right guy for you. And yeah, she was the right guy for him or something. So he basically stole another woman's fiance, who's now his wife. So again, there's also another thing where I think there's also another issue where we can also say like, look, if people are not married, there's fair game here.
Oh, wow.
Fair game in the situation of where only if somebody is married, then there's something. I don't
know about that.
You don't know?
No, I see what you mean. Like you don't, it's not a commitment until you say I do.
Yeah.
So there's always room to say no. But then at the same time, I don't think we know that this brother and this sister are looking to get married, and then you're now there like, oh, what about me? Like, no, I don't think that's okay.
But they're not married yet.
Yeah, but babe, no. Like, no. Yeah, they're not married. I mean, if they've said no, they don't want to get married, That's fine. But then why should you now start disturbing peace and bringing confusion to other people?
I understand where you're coming from.
I kind of get where you're coming from. I know, like, it's not wrong in the sense of you're not sinning in the sense of you're not committing adultery. Yeah. But I also think we need to also love one another and it's not love. Respect one another. It's
not moral, I guess.
Yeah, it just sounds wrong.
It sounds wrong in the sense of it's, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's not moral, but I would say in the sense,
just feels wrong.
It feels wrong in the sense of you are not at least respecting the fact that she's made a
she's about to make a commitment. She's made it clear, or he's made it clear that they want to make a commitment to this person.
Yeah.
But then there is an opportunity. I mean, you can talk, but then I don't know. It's a gray area.
It's a very gray area. Yeah. Yeah. But we've seen some people who've justified it.
Yeah. And that's true.
I'm not gonna justify it personally.
So when we're dating and then, one of your people that they were like, "Oh, Ruth, well, they haven't said I do yet. What's your name? What's your number?"
Because I made my decision, I'll still be married to you.
What do you mean?
If it was, are you talking about you?
No, I'm saying if it was you and I, we hadn't said I do, but that year before we said I do, we'd made a decision that we want to get married.
Yeah.
Then someone a brother in the church was approaching me, would that be okay? Because I haven't said I do.
No, that's wrong. I'll think it's wrong. I'll be upset.
Yeah.
But again, it's your choice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sometimes it's basically like, would you want to spare my feelings at the essence of you being unhappy if you feel like your happiness is with that other person?
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's where I do love you, but I think we've learned enough that getting married to spare someone else's feelings is just not enough.
Yeah. So those are the challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything?
Well, actually, it could be, but let me just say, I don't think I would want that. Because at the end of the day, God works things out.
Yeah. Anything that we've missed out here? She said she talked to her uncle. Sorry.
Uncle. Haha.
It's like I have to sacrifice my happiness for my family. Is there anything that I'm not seeing which my family is able to see?
That could be true.
It's saying, it's really depressing me, and time is moving fast as well.
Where are you rushing to?
I really do not know what. I think here when you basically say the time is moving fast. So I think maybe that's also one of the reasons of why she's maybe stressed and everything like that. I think she's feeling like she cannot stop this situation. And I think when you feel that way, that's when I think maybe the stress, the depression comes in. But she's not made a decision. I think she needs to know that she has to make that decision.
Yeah.
It's sad that people can actually influence your decision. And I think sometimes it's also, you never know, like maybe like, oh, if you don't get married, we're not going to take care of you.
We're not going to come to your wedding. If you don't marry this guy, we're not going to come to this other guy's wedding. We're not going to help you with the arrangements.
And I think those things, especially coming from where we come from, especially when you see like maybe some families, their economical background is not as good as other people. And then they feel like, oh, if I don't do this, what's going to happen to me? If I don't do this, and then because of that, the woman feels guilty in trying to make a decision, which is not the right decision. And I think there has to be a level, and I think that's why it's good to be in the context of where you are in a church, especially a Bible-believing church.
Yeah,
because at least you can address those situations, and at least if they're going to marry you, they're the ones who will basically say you're fit to get married.
Yeah.
And if they also see like this aspect of where you are unsure, it's also their duty to basically say, no, I don't think it's ready for you to get married.
Yeah.
You can go back to Civic Center and say, you're not getting married, especially in this church.
Yeah.
At the moment, because we want you to sit down and at least reflect on these things. If you want to go on, you can go to Civic Center and do it. We're talking about Civic Center. It's like getting married at the courts, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Officially.
Yeah. I don't know how it's done here. Here, do you get married at the church or at the court?
No, you go to the council or the civics Well, we probably call it the civic. I can't remember. You know.
No,
I think
here,
because it's a bit similar to. It is basically it's this bit similar to the civic center in Zambia, but because I can't remember because we did the Zambian way, but it's exactly or it's a mirror image.
No, I think there are two ways of doing it. I think that you can get married in a church, but a representative of the council needs to be there. I think you have to book that.
Yeah, it needs to
and
be.
And then or something.
Or you can get married in. They actually like each town actually has a area where you can actually go in the actual building itself to get married. Kind of like in Zambia.
Yeah.
I think
something like that. Yeah. So, any final advice on this situation?
No, I think pray about it and don't rush.
Yeah, I think that's
don't rush.
Don't rush. Just look at the situation.
Yeah.
And maybe also bring it in another time when everybody's emotions have calmed down.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing is deal with the part one.
Yeah, and humble yourself.
Because I think there can be also pressure of saying, "Oh, if I don't deal with this guy will leave." If that guy left, he was not for you.
Yeah.
And I think
if you tell him and explain,
you'll be patient and you wait. If this is a genuine complication, it's just something that has happened and you do not know what has happened or something like that.
Yeah.
If this guy loves you, he'll be willing to wait for you.
Exactly.
And also try to help and understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he's going to help, but I think he just needs to understand the situation that is at play and he has to wait. So yeah, anything else?
No, that's it from me, babe.
So yeah, thank you for listening to another episode of FWTC Reacts.
Yep.
And we hope that as you have listened to this episode, you've been encouraged, and we just pray and trust that this advice has indeed been helpful in a particular way. If you have any comments or any disagreements, please put them in the comment section. We also invite you
any advice that you would give to the story.
Yeah, to like, subscribe, and also
share, please.
And yes, and we just pray and trust that as we continue to put out this content, you are indeed encouraged in all ways.
Mm-hmm.
So until next time, thank you very much and God bless. Bye-bye.
And bye.